Asterisk, I wasn't looking for trouble the day I walked into that clinic. I had pulled a muscle during a weekend basketball game, something small, annoying. I just wanted it checked out and maybe get some pain relief. What I didn't expect was that one appointment would shake the ground under my relationship. Asterisk, my name's Nate. I'm 29. A graphic designer living in Austin. I've been with Ryan for almost 5 years. He's smart, disciplined, and ambitious, one of those guys who wakes up before dawn, runs 5 miles, and drinks his protein shake without blinking. We used to laugh a lot. Used to touch, hold, kiss like it meant something. Now, it's mostly silence, routine, and his constant obsession with work. Our bed had turned cold months ago, but I told myself that was normal. Long-term relationships evolve. They slow down. Asterisk, but I didn't expect to feel so. Unseen. Asterisk, when I arrived at the clinic, the receptionist handed me a clipboard, barely looking up. A few minutes later, the door opened, and a voice called out, "Nathan?" I stood, glanced up, and stopped. Dr. Cole Harper. Tall, early 30s, dark brown hair swept back casually. Clean-shaven, with sharp cheekbones and a look in his eyes that said he didn't miss a thing. He extended a hand. "I'm Dr. Cole. You're here for a hip strain?" Asterisk, his grip was firm, his tone professional, but something lingered behind his gaze. Not creepy, just observant. He gestured for me to follow him inside. Asterisk, let's take a look, he said after a few questions. You'll need to drop your shorts to mid-thigh, just so I can check the joint movement. Asterisk, I did as told, lying back on the table. Adjusted my leg with clinical precision, but I could feel his fingers hesitate ever so slightly when they brushed the top of my thigh. His face didn't change, still calm, focused, but I knew that pause. It was the kind of silence where something electric hangs, just for a moment. Asterisk, you've got some tightness here, he said, clearing his throat. Also, not to be weird, buttle, you're not exactly average in terms of size. Makes the stretch a little more complex. Asterisk, I blinked. He was professional, but his ears had turned slightly red. I smirked. Yeah, been told. Asterisk, he chuckled, shaking his head. All right, superstar. Let's get through this without breaking the table. Asterisk, we both laughed, and for the first time in weeks, I felt noticed, not for being Nate, the steady boyfriend. Not for being someone's long-term plan, just for existing and taking up space. Asterisk, when I left the clinic, my hip felt looser. But something else inside me was tight. My phone buzzed. A message from Ryan. Running late again? Don't wait up. Typical. I stared at the message for a full minute before locking my phone without replying. 5 years of shared rent, shared groceries, shared silence, and here I was, feeling something after one 30-minute session with a stranger. Asterisk, but Dr. Cole wasn't just a stranger anymore. He had seen something, someone I thought had vanished under layers of neglect and routine. Maybe I'd seen something too. Asterisk, I told myself it was harmless. A little attention, flirty moment. Nothing more. Asterisk, but deep down, I already knew. This wasn't going to end simply, not when my body reacted that way. Not when I caught myself smiling as I replayed his voice in my head. Asterisk, and not when I realized. I was already counting the days until my next appointment. By the second session, I had picked out my outfit with more care than I wanted to admit. Slim-fit joggers, a looser shirt, casual but calculated. The kind of look that said I woke up like this when I definitely stood in front of the mirror twice. Asterisk, Dr. Cole greeted me with that same easy smile. Hey Nate, good to see. You back? Hip still giving you trouble? Or just here for the charm? Asterisk, it was a joke, but it landed squarely in my chest. Little of both, I said, trying to keep it light. But already we were standing too close. His hand brushed my shoulder as he guided me toward the table. That simple touch sent a jolt up my spine. Asterisk, he worked on my leg again, calf, thigh, hip, always professional, but the air had shifted. The space between words felt slower, weighted. At one point, his fingertips pressed a little deeper near the base of my hip, just above the waistband of my shorts. He paused. Asterisk sorry, he said. Just checking alignment. I nodded, but neither of us believed it was just that. Over the next few weeks, our sessions became routine. But nothing felt routine anymore. The conversations grew longer. He started asking questions that had nothing to do with my recovery, about my job, my music taste, how I liked my coffee. Asterisk one time, I mentioned Ryan. Cole didn't flinch, but he said, "So you're taken." It wasn't a question. It's more like a confirmation. Yeah, almost 5 years, I replied. He raised an eyebrow. Must be going well then? I didn't answer. That silence said more than I ever could. Asterisk at home, things with Ryan had grown. Icier? He barely spoke over dinner. Always working, always tired. I tried to bring it up once, asked if he still felt the same about us. Asterisk, he didn't even look up from his laptop. Nate, can we not do this tonight? Asterisk. I slept facing the wall that night, and the next, the one after that. Asterisk, the 6th therapy session ended with Cole walking me out himself. He stopped at the door. Lingering, asterisk, he leaned against the frame and said quietly, "You know, I think you're incredible. Not just ... physically. I mean, you're funny, easy to talk to. You feel real in a way most people don't." Asterisk. I swallowed hard. The hallway buzzed with silence. Asterisk, you don't have to say anything, he added quickly. I just couldn't. Keep acting like I didn't notice you. Asterisk, I could have left. Should have left, asterisk, instead, I said. I noticed you too. His eyes locked onto mine. He stepped back, opening the door wider. You want to come in for a minute? The door clicked shut behind us. There were no more jokes, no medical forms, just hands on skin, breath against neck, clothes on the floor like they couldn't get away fast enough. It was messy, frantic like something starved finally being fed. Asterisk afterward, I lay there staring at the ceiling. Cole traced circles on my chest with one finger. Quiet. Asterisk, you okay? He whispered. Asterisk, I nodded. Yeah, asterisk. He smiled. No regrets? Asterisk, I wanted to say no. I wanted to say I'd never felt more alive. But guilt was already pulling at me like an undertow. Asterisk, I picked up my phone. Text from Ryan. Don't forget to buy almond milk. Asterisk, I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was absurd. A message like that, in this moment. It felt like someone reminding me I was still supposed to be living a lie. Asterisk, Cole was watching me but didn't speak. He didn't have to. I opened a reply to him, typed a heart emoji in, deleted it. Instead, I typed, I'm okay. Asterisk. He smiled at that, even though we both knew okay was just code for I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Asterisk. Left his apartment with my heart pounding and a question I couldn't ignore anymore. Asterisk, what if what I just did wasn't wrong? Asterisk, what if it was the first honest thing I'd done in months? Asterisk, the guilt didn't hit me all at once. It crept in slowly, like fog in the early morning. For 2 days, I didn't return Cole's texts. I avoided Ryan too, left early, came home late. Couldn't face either of them without feeling like a traitor. But silence has a way of drawing attention. On the 3rd night, I came home to find Ryan sitting at the kitchen counter, his phone in hand, unreadable expression on his face. Asterisk, whose number is this? He asked, holding up the screen. Asterisk, I froze. Asterisk, it was synced to my tablet, he said, tapping the device next to him. Text history. Looks like a lot of back and forth, and then nothing. Asterisk, he looked at me directly for the first time in weeks. You slept with him, didn't you? Asterisk, I didn't lie. Couldn't, asterisk, yes. Asterisk, Ryan's jaw tensed. He stood, walked across the room, then turned sharply. You could have just said you were done. You didn't have to screw someone else to prove it. Asterisk, it wasn't about proving anything, I said quietly. I didn't plan it. I didn't even expect it. But ... he saw me, Ryan. He actually looked at me, asterisk. He scoffed. I see you every damn day, Nate. Asterisk, no, you don't, I snapped, louder than I meant. You see a version of me that fits your schedule? Your habits? You haven't touched me in months, haven't asked how I'm feeling. You live here, but you're never really here. Asterisk he. Looked wounded, but not surprised. So what? That makes it okay to cheat? Asterisk no, it doesn't, I admitted. But I need you to understand. I didn't go looking for someone else. I just needed to feel alive. Needed to feel wanted. Asterisk he. Didn't respond right away. Just nodded. Once. Like he'd already known this moment was coming. Asterisk, I guess. We both checked out a while ago, he finally said. Asterisk. We didn't scream. We didn't fight. Just stood there, staring across a countertop filled with unopened mail and a half-dead houseplant symbols of everything we'd let die. Asterisk Ryan packed a bag that night. Said he'd stay at his brother's. Told me to keep the apartment. I didn't argue. Asterisk the next day I texted Cole. Can we talk? Asterisk he replied instantly. Of course. Asterisk we met at a small coffee shop, the kind with mismatched chairs and low jazz playing in the background. He looked tired, but still gave me that soft smile. Asterisk, I owe you honesty, I began. Ryan found out. He's gone. Asterisk Cole nodded, hands wrapped around his cup. I'm sorry. I know that's heavy. Asterisk I shook my head. Don't be. It was going to break eventually. You just cracked it faster. Asterisk he looked at me for a long moment. Was I just the crack, Nate? Or something more? Asterisk I sighed. That's the thing I don't know. What happened between us? It meant something. But I can't jump from one mess into another. I need space. It's time to figure out what the hell I even want. Asterisk, I can respect. That, he said, just so you know, I didn't want to be your escape. I wanted to be your choice. Asterisk, I know. Asterisk, we didn't hug, didn't kiss. Just sat there. Two men who had crossed a line and now stood in the space between regret and clarity. Weeks passed. The apartment felt different, without Ryan's schedule dictating the silence. I started going on walks, reading again. Picked up painting, something I hadn't touched since college. Asterisk Cole texted sometimes funny memes, random thoughts. He never pushed. I appreciated that more than he knew. Asterisk one afternoon, I passed his clinic. I paused outside, looked at the glass door, at the faint reflection of a guy who'd once walked in for a pulled muscle and came out emotionally unraveled. Asterisk. I smiled. Then I turned and kept walking. I didn't need to rush. The chapter wasn't closed, but it didn't have to be rewritten right away either. For now, I was finally living in my own story. Asterisk.